Welcome back to the Not Close Enough podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah. And today, I am back with another episode with something that is going to be very heavy. And there's something that's going to be very light. I try to contrast. Today, we're going to talk about something really heavy. And then also something really, well, it's not really light because I'm probably going to get more hate for the second thing I talk about. But let's just get into it, okay? Maybe you're like, man, what did I just click on? You just clicked on a podcast called Not Close Enough podcast. And if you're wondering what that even means, it simply means this, that I believe that close enough is not close enough when it comes to our relationship with Jesus, meaning there is always another step you can take to get closer to Jesus. No matter where you are in your walk faith, or even if you're still investigating, there's always another step that you can take. And I talk about so many different things, but it all comes down to what can we learn? What can even I learn that's going to help me get closer to Jesus? And so today I got two big topics. One is humongous and one is like not really, but it's a lot of talk about it. And so here are the two things I'm going to be talking about today. Again, one's very heavy and one's culturally heavy in a way. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, which is the most important, is the hopefully I don't get flagged by saying something like this, but it's the massacre that's going on that nobody is really talking about in Nigeria. So I'm going to react to a video from PBD podcast where Patrick David talks about what is going on in Nigeria, how there are thousands of Christians being persecuted and unalived, and it's not being talked about. And so I'm going to react to this video and then I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to give my input and we're going to go from there. And then the second thing I'm going to be talking about is this whole Bad Bunny halftime show. Do I agree with it? Do I not agree with it? Do I stand in the middle? I'm half Puerto Rican, so do I have some skin in the game, obviously? So I'm going to talk about my opinions on this whole crazy mess that's going on, this crazy debate on whether Bad Bunny should be doing the halftime show at the Super Bowl. What is my perspective on it? What is some insights on it? And man, I'm going to get into that last. But first, I want to talk about what's the most important is that there are people, Christians, our brothers and sisters in Christ, that are being slaughtered. And it's not being talked about. And we're going to hear a lot of about the video that I'm going to be reacting to. We're going to hear a little bit more about what is going on. And the whole point of me reacting to this is, number one, to set awareness of what's actually going on. And then two, we need to pray for our brothers and sisters in Nigeria and all around the world that is being persecuted. And hopefully I'm going to do some research before I upload this. Maybe I can, I've already done some research, but what I want to do is I want to put like a link or something, if I can find one, of how we can possibly support them in Nigeria specifically. And hopefully I can have that in the description below. But man, let's get into this video. All right, you ready? I'm ready.
If you turn on primetime news, you're probably going to hear about what's going on with Ukraine.
On Ukraine.
Ukrainian city of Dnipro.
Ukraine has come under heavy bombardment from Russia.
Or what's going on with Gaza.
But in Gaza.
Gaza.
But you're probably going to hear nothing about the fact that one country has killed, executed more persecutions towards Christians than any other countries around the world combined, and that's Nigeria. Just this year, 7,087 Christians have been killed, beheaded in many instances this year, just for going to church. Today we're going to talk about the events that are taking place in Nigeria targeted towards Christians.
So let me just stop right there. Over 7,000 this year have been unalived, killed. And I just recently found out about this, and I'll make another video about the whole Israel and Palestine and what's going on in Gaza. And I've been seeing all of those feeds about those children who are hungry. And man, it breaks my heart. My heart goes out for just both sides. And trust me, I'm going to have another video dedicated on that alone. But it's funny how, obviously that is getting so much attention, but yet at the same time, there is an actual genocide happening in Nigeria where they're wiping out Christians, and it's not being talked about. I wonder why. I wonder why the big news channels isn't giving this the attention that it actually deserves. And so let's go on.
If you're watching this, and we know mainstream media is not going to be talking about this a lot with other people, you want to get more exposure to it, share with other people. Let me tell you why. Since 2009 till today, 125,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria, according to the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law. By the way, when you're looking at the surge, 7,087 just this year in the first 220 days, that's 35 a day. 7,800 abducted. They disappeared. Can't find them anymore. 19,100 churches have been destroyed. Imagine you going to church. Imagine on Sunday, you just want to take your kids to church. All you want to do is go pray, maybe, sing a little bit, worship music, listen to the pastor, the preacher, what they have to say, the priest. 19,100 churches have been destroyed. By the way, 10,000 schools have been destroyed that are teaching Christian theology to kids, certain values that they have. And in Nigeria, specific areas, they're being targeted. Now, who is doing the targeting to these Christian communities, these Catholic churches? Many of these guys are the jihadists, one of the leaders being Boko Haram since 2009, later splintering into ISIS West Africa province, the ISWAP and Ansaru, conducting mass killing, forcing conversions, and abductions. And you're seeing this in the news. I'm going to put a picture here for you to see on what's going on. This is what they look like. They're just going around targeting Christians, burning homes, seizing land, destroying harvest, sexual violence. And the way they're going about doing it is they're going at night when you're asleep, night assaults on villages, church seizures and burnings, mass kidnapping, land grab, creating no-go zones for Christian natives. And families are sitting there saying, what do I do? I just want to go to church. I can't. You saw service. With everything that's going on, I mean, we get...
Real quick, I just went to church today. And I'm in America. I live in Florida. I couldn't imagine that me possibly going to church could be so dangerous. And as you see here, there is so much persecution that is going on that's not being talked about. I ask the question, why? If you look at Hollywood and you look at even America and the West, which God do you think, even I only believe in one God, but which religion gets mocked the most? Which God has its own cuss word? It's not Muhammad. It's not Buddha. It's Jesus. We have the God and then D word, and then people be just saying Jesus Christ in a different term. It's funny how we mock Christianity, but every other religion is off limits for some reason. Like it's not even close to the amount of scrutiny when it comes to any other religion but Christianity. Why do you think that is? Why do you think Christians right now are being persecuted more than any other religion? I wonder why. And then what people don't understand who are not Christians, the more you persecute us, the more we multiply. The more you try to suppress the truth, the more truth gets exposed to more and more people. They have been trying to shut up Christians since Christianity started. And yet we have survived from persecution after persecution. And this is crazy that we're getting these statistics. And again, I just realized how bad this was. I mean, let's continue.
With our faith a lot of times. How strong is our faith? Is our faith as strong as this guy? They're still in church. They're still there praying. They're still singing to worship music, even though all this stuff's going on. You hear guys talking about, they kill my family. They kill my parents. They burn my house down. They burn my relative's house down. They burn my kid's house down. All I have left is this shirt I'm wearing. Here's what the fellow is talking about. I want you to watch these two clips. One of them is them still going to church on a Sunday, and one of them talking about what happened to him and his family.
My family members, they died in this house. 11. And some died in the other store. Here and up, my house is up there. That place also is burned. And the store where I pack my goods, I store my goods everywhere, has burned. They burned my clothes, they burned everything, they burned our food. All my family members, what we kept with is our food.
Right here.
Incredible.
These people are still worshiping in a church that got burnt down. They still show up to Sunday or whatever day that whether it is Sunday, they still show up to church service, even though their building is burnt down. They don't have no roof. It's in Africa, so you know it's hot. And yet, man, this is convicting me. We don't go to church because it's raining. We don't go to church because we had a late night on Saturday. We don't go to church because maybe there's some type of inconvenience. But yet they're going to the church that was demolished, knowing that even showing back up at the church could get them killed. It breaks my heart for me, because when I see stories like this, it awakens my faith. It awakens me in a way that is just so frustrated at how we view church and how much we take advantage of the freedoms that we have here in America. And I'm talking about me too. I'm not acting like I'm preaching to people. This is me. This awoke me. Oh man, I'm tired. I'll go to church next week. But yet these people in Nigeria are going to church even though their lives are really at danger. It really just puts things in perspective. It puts things in perspective of, is your faith real? Man.
A lot of mainstream media gets this. What's the purpose of me showing this? It's just Christians. I mean, it's just Christians, but we have to show anything else to raise the temperature and make sure people are angry and go out there protesting. Free Palestine, that's what we need. We need rage. Christians, give me a break. You know, if you're going to go out there and kill 49 Christians in Democratic Republic of Congo that were killed by machetes, not a big story, right? We shouldn't share this if we're...
That is so true. Like, again, it's horrible what's going on in Palestine, Gaza, Israel, all that's, it's horrible. It does need to be talked about. But that's all, like, man, I go on my social media. That's all I hear, free Palestine and Israel and all of these things. But this is never mentioned. I haven't seen not one post, except for maybe one on someone that I follow like PBD, talking about this. But yet we're talking about free Palestine, where what's crazy is the people who are saying that would never even want to be in that culture. Let's be honest. Do you think you would trade places? Would you want to live? And I get it. It's crazy of what's going on over there and all of that. But do you know their culture? Do you know that if you were to say if there was no war going on, do you think you would be accepted in their culture? Like, and yet all these people are like free Palestine, and I'm for Israel, And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what's crazy to me is we don't hear nothing. And it should tell you something. It should tell you something about the news, about what gets reported. It really shows that when it comes to Christianity and Christians, oh, that's not news. Well, I'm here to make it news. I'm here I'm frustrated that my brothers and sisters are dying for their faith and it's not even being talked about. And the reason why I bring this out is so that we can, as Christians, gather, get more information, pray for them, see if there are ways that we can fundraise and help them or to give or whatever the case is, bring more awareness to it, so that people can see what is actually happening to our brothers and sisters in Christ.
Mainstream media, some victims are beheaded and burned, but I mean, we don't need to really talk about it a lot because it's just Christians. We need to really get into the story and then hear stories that's going on in Canada. You got Justin Trudeau, 112 churches burned in Canada, Catholic churches, and Justin Trudeau, former prime minister, gets up there and says, well, I understand their rage. I mean, you have to watch this to believe what the former leader of Canada had to say about all the church burnings that was going on in Canada. Here's Justin Trudeau for you.
Acts of vandalism and arson are being seen across the country, including against Catholic churches. One of my reflections is I understand the anger that's out there against institutions like the Catholic Church. It is real and it is fully understandable.
And by the way, I got a list of other places.
All right, guys, real quick, did you hear that? This is getting close to home. This is like, yeah, I'm talking about what's going on in Nigeria and Africa. And obviously there's a lot of persecution happening with Christians when it comes to China and North Korea and parts of the Middle East where, man, if you even get there was people that are in prison. There was a family, I believe, in either China, North Korea. They got found out with a Bible and their whole entire family got sentenced to life in prison, including a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old. So there is a lot of persecution happening to Christianity around the world, but it's getting closer to home, even to Canada. Guys, if we don't wake up and see what is going on, this is getting closer and closer. And I'm not here to make you fearful or anything. God has given us a spirit of power and not of fear. But we do need to be made aware of what is going on, especially when it comes to our other brothers and sisters in Jesus. And that it is coming home. And are you prepared? Is your faith genuine? Man, let's go.
The only reason I'm showing you Justin Trudeau is because it's not just happening in Africa or Syria and it's happening in the West as well. We can tell you some of the stuff that's going on in Arizona that happened recently. This is taking place, and so a lot of Christians are saying, hey, what do we do about this? Do we just sit around and not do anything? What can we do about this? Some are saying, hey, well, that's why we need a crusade. There's a spiritual warfare going on. That's what we need right now. We need to get louder. Some are saying mainstream media should talk about it. Well, if they're not, we should talk about it. We will. Some are saying, well, maybe Christians are not understanding the whole concept of tolerance. We should be tolerant. We should be tolerant. Well, if there's an example of a guy that wasn't tolerant, it was Jesus. This concept of being tolerant towards who? Towards everybody, allowing all this stuff to happen? I used to pray for 4 things for many years. 20 years I was praying for courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding. I told my kids, we're not praying for tolerance anymore. If someone's pushing the envelope, make some noise, do something about it, right? We're seeing all this stuff that's happening over here. God forbid if something happens to, Muslim or a different denomination or Jews, everybody wants to talk about it. Oh my God, you won't believe what happened. How about Christians? Do they have a valid argument here that people are making? I think they do. I think they do. But there's maybe not a business model in trying to help Christians out.
So that's that. And again, the whole reason why I bring all of that up is simple. We need to bring awareness of what is happening to our brothers and sisters in Jesus. It's not being talked about. And so, okay, I have awareness. You've watched this video. What do I do now? Again, I already said it a couple of times. The first thing you can do is pray. Pray for our brothers and sisters who are being persecuted around the world, Nigeria, China, North Korea, Canada, everywhere around the world. Pray specifically for them. But also, we need to look for ways that we can partner up with other people who are doing missions and out helping to rebuild their villages or whatever the case is. And I got to even do my own research on that. And hopefully I find some and I'll put it in the description below. But it just starts there and bringing more awareness to it. So if there's enough people that have eyeballs on it, the higher ups have no choice to do something about it. And so, guys, this is just, it's freaking heartbreaking, man. You have people who are, and this is me too, like we argue about so much stuff and we debate, and I get it, I understand it, but man, people's lives are at stake. This needs to be seen. This needs to be viral. Of understanding what is happening with our brothers and sisters, especially in Nigeria, that's going on right now. So you need to ask yourself, why haven't I heard of this? Why has this been going on and I haven't heard about this? I truly think, man, this is just me, man, the enemy is doing a good job of making us blind to the things that we need to see. And so pray for them, see if there are ways that you can help, and man, spread the word. So, and I'm most likely going to be talking more about that on another time, but yeah, that's my spill for that. And trust me, I got a lot more to say about that in another video. But that was heavy. Now let's bring it a little bit more lighter to a topic that's been taking over my social media for the past couple days. And it was when the Super Bowl announced that Bad Bunny is going to be performing at the Super Bowl. And I'm half Puerto Rican and half Mexican. So, and I'm seeing all of my Puerto Rican friends like, hey man, like, Puerto Rico, that's a part of America. Like, all you guys are talking smack about him. Like, he is American. And there's been a lot of different views. Like, so there's a view of like, yo, why are you mad at Bad Bunny, doing the Super Bowl? Because, he's very popular. He is technically American, but he's Puerto Rican. He's very famous. A lot of people love his music. So what's the hold up? Like, why are y'all being racist towards this Puerto Rican? That's how some view it. Others view it as, man, most of his music is Spanish, and most of the people who watch the NFL don't listen to that type of music, and so you're like losing touch of the fan base, and I don't think he's the right fit for the Super Bowl because the fan base isn't there who loves sports. There's that one, and then there's another view of man, like Bad Bunny, he's more, leftist, and he's, from what I've done research, and correct me if I'm wrong, like I don't know if he's considered bi. He's dressed up like a woman, and he's done some I'll just say like gay stuff, kissed other guys, and families are worried that, in his performance, are we going to see something very I can't even say the word provocative. Seeing something too sexual or something that I don't want to see. My kids are gonna be watching, and is this gonna be family appropriate? And all of those things. And then there's other people like, yo, freaking J-Lo and Shakira was on like a couple years ago, and they were on a pole. They were basically, on the pole dancing, right? So, like, where's the line? And so there's all these different views. And I get a part of all the views, right? Because, first of all, the Super Bowl, it's not a Christian event, right? It's not like this is a church thing. And so I get that, hey, they bring in some of the most popular artists. He's one of the most popular artists at this time, and I see the view of them going in that direction because he's really big right now. But then I also believe that, man, is the NFL fan base gonna like this? Is the NFL, like the most of the fan base, is this for them? And so I'm gonna give you my opinions. And again, me being half Puerto Rican, I don't know. I might get some hate on this. I don't know, but this is just my opinion. Number one, like, even if he were to perform, because right now there's people trying to boycott it. And what's really cool, and I got to point this out, I believe Brandon Lake and some other, like Forrest Frank and a couple of other Christian artists are wanting to do something, which is very interesting. So from what I heard, this is what they are thinking about doing, that they're going to rent out like a stadium, and they're going to get a whole bunch of like Christian artists, and then they're going to do something live at the exact same time as the halftime. So there's been this idea going around where all of these famous Christian artists are planning to get together and at the same exact time as the halftime, do their own thing, so that families who don't want to watch the halftime show can go to an alternative that is happening at the exact same time and listen to Christian, wholesome family music that's better for a family environment. And so I think that would be incredible. I think that would be awesome. And man, if they did do that, man, I'm clicking over, and listen, for Bad Bunny, I'm not there's a couple of his songs that's very catchy, and, I don't speak Spanish, I know. And so he's not really my cup of tea. But I will say this, that if other Christians do this, like, this will be significant. And it will give an opportunity for families to switch to an alternative if they don't want to watch it. And I think that's probably for the best. I think that would be awesome. I'm not here to be like, Bad Bunny, he cannot do it. Even though, me personally, I would be worried watching his halftime show, because I know how some halftime shows can get a little crazy. I mean, and it's not just Bad Bunny. There's been other halftime shows where I'm like, man, they kind of took it far. Like, man, there's kids in the crowd, and and J-Lo's on the pole, and I'm like, oh snap, and so. And that's the whole point, is like, the Super Bowl and football, it's a family event, and people are a little worried of, what is this halftime show going to be? And it might not be all of that craziness that people may think it is, but you never know, because when there are pictures like this and pictures like this, you can see why people are a little bit worried of what they're going to get at the Super Bowl. And I totally understand that. And so for me, my view is, hey, if the football they want to hire Bad Bunny to do the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna boycott watching the Super Bowl. I'll just flip off the channel during halftime, watch the alternative, and then go right back to watching my football game. That's just me personally, okay? And here's the thing, and it leads to a bigger idea of what people are talking about. I think if you really go deep inside of like why there's this tension here, is that there's a lot of like America is politic heavy right now, and it's a lot of left versus right, Republican versus Democrat, and so they're afraid of like man, this is gonna bring he's obviously known to be very leftist and very flamboyant, and conservatives like me, I'm a conservative, are like, hey man, I don't want to watch that. Or but then again, who knows, maybe he's not gonna do nothing crazy like that and it's gonna be a fire halftime show. I don't know, but based on what we've seen, that's why people are a little bit cautious that's why I am a little bit cautious about the halftime show. All right, and again, there have been other halftime shows that were really crazy. I mean, come on, Janet Jackson, that was the craziest. All right. And and so I won't get more into that, and so that's kind of like my spill on that is like, hey, listen, if there are Puerto Ricans out there, they want to support Bad Bunny, watch the halftime show, all that, cool, yay. Like, but here's the thing, I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Before I'm Puerto Rican, before I'm Mexican, before I'm a football fan, before I'm a father, before I'm a Republican or a Democrat or a before any of that, I am a Jesus follower. And because of that, that pushes what I tend to want to see and look at and get involved with. And everyone has their right to make their own opinion based on their beliefs, but as someone that has a Christian faith, maybe that's something I don't want to watch during my halftime show, or maybe it is, and maybe I just want to see what it's all about. Again, I'm not saying we should boycott it or cancel or whatever the case is. It's your preference. But at the same time, as Christians, we do need to be careful, especially if your kids are going to be watching the Super Bowl and they're going to be watching the halftime show, to be cautious. That's it. Just to be cautious and go by your own convictions. Go by your own convictions. If you feel convicted, like there are certain Christians that won't watch certain movies. And I'm not here to say, oh, they're being too religious and this and that. Like, no, man, maybe Holy Spirit's convicted them to not watch certain movies or certain things. And I totally understand that. All right. So I just think, hey, go by your convictions. If you feel like, hey, this is something you don't want to watch, and you want to switch to alternative, what I'm hearing is they may have one. And if not, then just turn it off or whatever the case is and turn it back on when the football game starts again. I don't know. That's my spill on that. Whether you agree or disagree, it's just, I love football. I watched my Bucks win today. It was freaking awesome. Great game against, who did they play? Holy moly. The Seattle Seahawks. It was an amazing game. So I love football. I'm definitely going to be watching the Super Bowl. Who knows? I might tune in just to see what it's all about. If it's going to get as crazy as people think it's going to get, or if it's not going to be as crazy. And he does a phenomenal job. And so, yeah, I probably will check it out just because but I'm also, if the Christians do come and do their own thing, I'm going to be freaking checking that out as well. And I think that's a really great idea, giving families an alternative. And so, that's my spill on that. All I would really say is that not just with the Super Bowl, but with anything, just be cautious. And I'm speaking to myself here, is just be cautious what you view and what you allow your family to see, and your children to see, and try to make the wisest decision for you and your family, especially if you're a Christian. And so that's my spill on that. And so just to recap, okay, going back, there is a lot of, and like I said, it got to very heavy to, it's the thing that's being talked about, but it's not nearly as heavy of what I just talked about. And that is the persecution of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria and even other Christians around the world that is going on, that's not being talked about. So I would say, hey, let's pray for them. Let's find ways that we can be generous and help them. And and let's unite. Let's come together and bring awareness to the persecutions that is happening around the world. And man, let's stand up. Let's stand together and be united. So that's my spill for today. Hey, I love you guys. And remember that close enough is not close enough when it comes to our relationship with Jesus. Hey, I'll see y'all the next time. God bless. Take care.
Let's go and get straight to it. My God is the best. His name is Yahweh. I advise you to check, yeah. My God is certified, glorified. That's what I'm gonna do, yeah. Just give him your life, yeah. And you'll know the truth, yeah. My God is 100 proof, yeah.